Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, March 25th. A very active weather pattern continues across the nation today. Looks like it'll continue at least for another week to 10 days or so. Multiple storm systems will have an impact on much of the nation. Today we have low pressure moving towards the mid-Atlantic coastline, causing some rainfall, some rain or drizzle in much of the mid-Atlantic region, especially south of the New York City metro area, really from Pennsylvania to New Jersey on down to Delmarva Peninsula, Virginia and Maryland. They'll get in on some rain today. Again, it could be drizzle at times into the evening hours. Tomorrow looks like a pretty decent day, but then more unsettled weather, more showers likely in the Mid-Atlantic region on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there is potential for a very big and strong storm by the middle part of next week that could ride to the northeast from the southern U.S. all the way into the northeastern U.S., and we'll talk a little bit about that over the next several minutes. First of all, we've been kind of highlighting the teleconnection index known as the North Atlantic Oscillation. When it turns negative and stays negative for a consistent period of time, generally is a favorable sign for cold air outbreaks to move from Canada into the eastern part of the nation. Indeed, it looks like it drops into negative territory over the next several days, and its closely related cousin, the Arctic Oscillation, is doing the same sort of thing, dropping from positive to at least neutral, maybe even into negative territory over the next several days. This tells us that there are a continuation of some cold air outbreaks over the next couple of weeks, even into the month of April, which begins I guess it's next Wednesday. It looks like colder than normal conditions could begin the month of April in much of the central and eastern U.S. Again, these teleconnection indices right now look like they'll drop into negative territory. The red is the forecast here. The black is what is the actual values over the current period and the past several weeks here. So again, headed down into negative territory. AO doing much of the same. Looks like all this signals the likelihood for more cold air outbreaks into the central and eastern U.S. over the next couple of weeks. And I mentioned this in yesterday's video. The reason I'm really focused on the cold air outbreaks, even if it doesn't result in snow in let's say the I-95 corridor region, cold air outbreaks this time of the year really will do a couple of things. First of all, it'll continue the active nature of this pattern, with cold air clashing with increasingly warm and more humid air down by the southern U.S., for example. And it also continues, maybe even intensifies, the threat of severe weather. And certainly this potential storm next week could feature some severe weather, let's say from Texas down to the Carolinas on the warm side of that potential storm by the middle part of next week. So again, the NAO continues to look like it'll drop into negative territory over the next several days. Well, speaking of cold air outbreaks, let's take a look at last night's Zig-Z run of the ensemble version of the GFS in terms of 5-day averages, a rolling 5-day average for 850 millibar temperature anomalies. This gives us a pretty good signal here that we do have some cold air outbreaks coming. This is the current 5-day period. Again, it's the average from today through day 5, so from March 25th through March 30th, generally above normal conditions in the eastern half of the nation. But watch what happens as we push forward here. Again, these are rolling 5-day averages now, days 4 to 8, and then it starts to show colder than normal conditions in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the Midwest, in days 5 to 9. This is really the end of the month of March going into the first week of April. Watch what happens here. It basically sits there and intensifies so that by the time we get out to days 11 to 15 and finally days 12 to 16, very significant area below normal temperatures in April. This is now well into the first week, maybe even into the second week of the month of April. So definitely some cold air outbreaks on the way, at least as depicted by this particular model run, but it's supported by what's going on with those teleconnection indices in terms of dropping from positive territory to neutral or negative territory. So again, it looks like The month of April will begin on the colder than normal side in much of the central and eastern U.S. Well, let's take a look now at the zero-Z operational run of the GFS. First, I want to kind of quickly go through the 500 millibar level just to show how active this weather pattern is. We have multiple waves of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere, riding basically from west to east across the nation over the next several days. First of all, today we have this area, a little bit of a trough here over the mid-Atlantic region. Again, low pressure headed towards the mid-Atlantic coastline. We'll have some rainfall for Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Virginia, Maryland, all the way across to Delaware. Again, that's associated with this particular wave of energy. Let's keep moving forward now. And here we are now by Thursday, which should turn out to be quite a nice day, a nice break in the action in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor with some sunshine and relatively mild conditions here. Notice though, by the end of the week, here we are Friday, a strong wave of energy cuts across California into the southwestern U.S. This is a time period where kind of a frontal system will become aligned from west to east in that flow of air aloft, which basically at this time moves from west to east. There'll be a frontal system forming in this region, originating at a low pressure that will intensify over the middle part of the nation this upcoming weekend. And we'll watch what happens here. All that energy slides to the north and east, and again at this time we'll have a frontal system extending all the way into the mid-Atlantic region, and this wave of energy will help to generate unsettled weather conditions for the mid-Atlantic region Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not going to rain all the time, but there will be a shower threat on each and every day, and maybe even a thunderstorm or two mixed in. Then we go into the early part of next week. This is now Monday morning. Look at this, another wave of energy crossing the Four Corners region, sliding into the middle part of the nation. Watch what this area of energy does. It kind of dives a little bit farther to the south and east. Here we are now by next Tuesday. Very well could help to produce a strong storm system that rides up from the southern states all the way into the northeast. Could be a major storm system for much of the eastern third of the nation by the middle part of next week. We keep going forward, and that pushes up to the north and east, and here we are, forecast by next Wednesday. We're talking a week from now, but this active weather pattern looks like it'll continue at least for another week or so. Again, there are some signs for a strong and pretty wide storm, a big storm by the middle part of next week with that wave of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere. Well, let's now take a look at the surface forecast maps from the zero-Z operational run of the GFS. Here's that current storm system moving off the Carolina coastline. And again, rain extending basically the northern edge of the rain or snow across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, down to the Virginias and Carolinas. On the north side, it definitely will be some snow mixed in across upstate Pennsylvania and just to the north and west of New York City. Again, New York City on the northern edge of that precipitation as this storm moves east-northeast rather than northeast up along the New England coastline. New England not affected by this current storm system. That pulls away in the overnight hours. And again, we're setting up for a nice day on Thursday, relatively nice with some sunshine in all of the mid-Atlantic region, and a rain-free day, relatively mild temperatures, probably ranging from highs 55 to 60 degrees in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor, 55 in New York City, 60 in D.C., but breaking the action doesn't last too long. Again, we have, first of all, one wave that will cause some shower activity late Thursday night and during the day on Friday. And then this frontal system we talked about will start to stretch from developing low over the middle part of the nation. Here we are Saturday morning, strong storm developing over the middle of the nation, and a frontal system really will extend all the way to the mid-Atlantic region. Kind of gets aligned with that upper level flow that is a zonal flow, a west to east flow. So it'll be a slow moving frontal system and lots of moisture riding along that frontal boundary zone. So that will continue the threat for showers not only in the Midwest but in the Mid-Atlantic region on Saturday and into Sunday. That storm system ends up sliding to the north and east, and again it continues a threat for showers even into the day on Sunday. Could be cold enough way up interior, higher elevation areas of northern New England for some snow on Sunday, and then that storm moves into southeastern Canada, and right on its heels we got the development of another storm system down in the south central U.S. by, let's say, next Tuesday morning. We saw a moment ago this has a lot of support in the upper part of the atmosphere with that wave of energy diving all the way to the south and east into the southeastern part of the nation. Again, this looks like a very the potential for a very strong storm system that ends up near the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Here we are now by next Wednesday, which happens to be April 1st, the first day of the month of April. Could be a strong coastal storm at this point in time with some cold air up across the northeastern U.S. We'll have to watch for that. This actually indicates some potential snow all the way into places like eastern Pennsylvania. Way too early to even talk about that, but notice here, 986 millibar low. That's by next Wednesday. Again, possibility for a strong storm system that could have an impact on much of the eastern half of the nation. Tuesday, Wednesday time frame of next week. We're talking a week away. A very active weather pattern going into the middle part of next week. So that's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.